The quiet arrival of the worry stone. Have you ever noticed, my dear listener, how the beginning of a worry often doesn't arrive with a shout, but with a slight shift in the air, a tiny, almost imperceptible change in the quiet room of your mind? It was something I learned to recognize slowly over many restful evenings, a process of gentle observation rather than forceful confrontation. I remember one night feeling that familiar low hum start in my chest, that subtle tightening, that vague, restless energy that doesn't quite know its name yet. Instead of chasing the reason for it, I simply closed my eyes and asked my quiet, dreaming self, what does this feeling look like right now, if it were an object? And in the gentle darkness behind my lids, a picture formed. It wasn't a roaring storm or a sharp, dangerous thing, but something much smaller, much more contained. The worry stone. It rested on a patch of soft, mossy earth within a clearing that was entirely my own. It wasn't jagged, though it wasn't perfectly smooth either. It had been tumbled by many internal currents, giving it a muted, matte surface. In my dreamscape, I could approach it without fear, because it was simply there. And what did I do when I saw this stone, this quiet manifestation of unrest? I did not try to move it or hide it or throw it away. I simply knelt beside it, in the soft, cool air of my inner night, and I observed. I reached out my hand, mentally of course, with the softest intention, and traced its outline. Was it warm, perhaps from the friction of many thoughts? Or was it cool, like a pebble pulled from a deep stream? In my own quiet memory, it was cool, almost neutral, like something forgotten on the forest floor. Its weight felt substantial, a testament to the real, valid energy it represented, but not so heavy that I couldn't acknowledge it gently. This worry stone is a beautiful messenger, isn't it? It doesn't demand action, it simply is. And by allowing it to simply be an object, not a catastrophe, not a failure, but a textured, temporary thing, we strip it of its rushing power. We transform the abstract, chasing thought into a concrete, observable form. Take a slow breath now, right down into your quiet center. Can you picture your own worry stone? It might be small, like a piece of sea glass, or larger, like a river rock. Perhaps it has subtle veins of deep color, or maybe it's entirely plain. We are not judging it. We are not solving it. We are simply giving it a place to rest in the soft light of our awareness, in this tranquil inner scene that is entirely safe. We are learning the simplest, most profound truth about these moments of unrest. Observation is the first act of gentle detachment. It's like looking at a candle flame in a still room. You don't have to touch it to know its shape and its quiet existence. You simply witness it. And as you witness your worry stone resting quietly on the moss, do you notice how the air around it remains calm? How the deep, velvety shadows of your inner forest are not disturbed by its simple, grounded presence? In this moment, my dear listener, your task is complete. You have quietly arrived, acknowledged the texture of the unrest, and given it a name and a form. And by observing its stillness, you invite that stillness back into your own waiting body. Let the image of the cool, quiet stone settle into the soft moss now, its job of arrival done. Is there a quiet spot of mossy earth in your mind where you can leave this observation resting peacefully until the morning? Mapping the inner weather. Let's take another slow, quiet breath, my dear listener. We've acknowledged the stillness of the worry, but sometimes the energy of anxiety feels less like a solid stone and more like movement, a restless stirring that seems to occupy the very air around us. I discovered that chasing this energy is like trying to catch mist with your hands. It only makes it more frantic. Instead, I learned to give this internal movement a new, non-threatening name. Inner weather. Think of it now. that feeling of diffuse, generalized unrest. Is it truly a storm raging right over your head, or is it something more distant, more atmospheric? When I close my eyes and let my mind drift, that feeling of scattered worry often transforms into a thick, silver-grey fog. It's not frightening fog, the kind that hides dangerous shapes. No, this fog is soft, cool, and moves with a gentle, slow purpose. It has settled over my inner landscape, perhaps obscuring the path ahead, but it hasn't stopped the world entirely. And within this fog, I notice a quiet sound. Not the sound of panic, but a steady, distant drizzle. It is the sound of things releasing, of moisture settling back into the earth. It creates a soft, muffled world where sound cannot travel very far, forcing everything, even my thoughts, to slow down and become hushed. This is the beauty of mapping your inner weather. It gives you perspective. When the heart feels tight, it might be a sudden, sharp gust of wind, but you can anchor yourself by remembering that gusts pass, and the trees on your inner hill are strong. When your thoughts race, that might be the quick, skittering shadow of clouds moving rapidly across the sun, but you know the sun is still there, just momentarily dimmed. We are simply charting a path through this temporary climate. We acknowledge the drizzle, but we also acknowledge the soft, earthy scent that the rain brings. We see the fog, but we notice the quiet, steady drip from the leaves nearby. And here is the quiet, essential truth that comes with this observation. We are not the weather. We are the wider landscape that contains the weather. The fog will lift. The drizzle will slow. And when you look at it not as your state of being, but as a temporary passing condition of the environment, you create space between yourself and the intensity of the feeling. Try it now. Feel the soft, cool air of the inner fog on your skin. Listen to the muffled quiet it creates. It is a blanket, perhaps, rather than a barrier. It slows the world down, giving you permission to move with intention, one step at a time, instead of rushing blindly ahead. We don't need to fight the atmosphere, we simply adjust our pace to match it. A slow, rhythmic, almost hypnotic pace, where each breath is a soft, intentional footfall on the quiet, damp earth. Can you feel the slow, calming rhythm of the drizzle helping to wash away the sharp edges of your day, leaving everything smoothed and soft? Let the fog roll gently on, and we will wait quietly until it begins to dissipate on its own time. The Library of Shelved Fears. We all carry stories, my dear listener. Stories of things that might happen, or things we feel we should have handled differently. These are the narratives of worry, and sometimes they feel heavy, like scrolls we must constantly hold. I realized in the quietest hours before sleep that I could give these heavy narratives a dignified, respectful place to rest. They didn't need to be destroyed or forgotten. They just needed to be shelved. Imagine now, in the deepest, most tranquil corner of your mind's eye, a vast, silent library. This isn't a bustling public place. It is a hushed, sacred chamber, lined floor to ceiling with dark, rich wood. The air smells of old paper, clean dust, and quiet time. And within this library, the anxious thoughts, the nagging what-ifs, the self-critical narratives, all these are transformed into books. Dusty, leather-bound books of all sizes. Some are slim, quick reads, maybe just a study of tomorrow's to-do list. Others are much larger, weighty volumes, titled perhaps The Complete History of Past Mistakes. We don't open them now. We are simply the gentle curator of this space. You walk slowly down an aisle, your steps muffled on the thick plush carpet. You notice a book that represents a current worry, that heavy, persistent theme that keeps knocking at the edges of your rest. It feels warm in your hands, perhaps vibrating slightly with the energy it holds. But you remind yourself, I am not required to read this story tonight. With a soft, intentional movement, you lift your hands and you place this heavy volume, this worry, on a high shelf. Not out of denial, but out of respectful deferment. You acknowledge its existence, its weight, and its place in the collection of your experiences, but you decide that the library is closed for reading right now. The act of placing it on the shelf is a profound, quiet shift. It says, "Thank you for the information, but this is not the time for study. You belong here, safe, contained, and awaiting a different hour." Do you see the beautiful geometry of the shelf now? It organizes chaos into rows of stillness. It takes the feeling of being overwhelmed and transforms it into the manageable reality of many single items, each contained within its binding. And as you step back, gazing up at the high shelf where that book rests, and all the other books of worry rest beside it, a profound sense of hush settles over the room. The library is not a place of stress, but a repository of quiet truth. We need to remember that the stories of our fears are valid, but they are not urgent in this moment of seeking peace. They are simply bound narratives waiting patiently. By putting them on the shelf, you free yourself from the burden of carrying them physically or mentally, allowing your own narrative, your story of peace, to unfold without interruption. Feel the quiet warmth of the wood and the soothing scent of the aged paper around you. This space is protected. This space is silent. And in this silence, the only task left is the gentle act of walking out and leaving the door softly ajar, knowing everything that needs to be held is perfectly safe inside. Doesn't the thought of a respectfully shelved worry bring a soft, beautiful stillness to your restless mind? The weaver's soft thread. We often feel, my dear one, the sharp, tight discomfort of a knot in the quiet fabric of our focus. Anxiety loves to tangle things, to take a smooth, continuous line of thought and pull it into a restrictive little ball, making the whole design feel broken. I discovered that the secret to untangling is not to yank or fight the knot, but simply to start weaving something new, slowly, softly, right beside it. Imagine now that you have stepped into a secluded, softly lit room. This is your personal weaving chamber. It is warm, silent, and illuminated only by the gentle amber glow of a single lamp that falls softly on an old, beautiful loom. This loom is made of dark, smooth wood, polished by centuries of gentle use. You are the gentle weaver. Tonight, before you, the threads of your life are laid out. But we are not touching the tangled, frantic knots of worry. We are reaching for a new spool. This thread is unlike any other. It is spun from the softest silence, dyed in the tranquil color of deep indigo, and feels impossibly cool and smooth against your fingertips. This soft thread represents the present moment, the only thing that can ever truly be controlled. Take a breath now, and with the most quiet, deliberate intention, begin the motion. Shick. The shuttle glides across the warped threads. Thud. The heddle gently, almost silently, presses the new thread into place. This process is the opposite of a rush. It is a slow, methodical ritual of peace. The entire world shrinks down to the single beautiful act of securing this one thread. Shick. Inhale. Thud. Exhale. The rhythm is hypnotic, isn't it? It absorbs your attention not by being loud or dramatic, but by being constant and complete. When a worrying thought, a tangled knot from the old spool, tries to pull your focus, you don't fight it. You simply keep your hand on the shuttle, committed to the slow rhythm. Shick. The thread of the worry might be right next to the thread of the calm, but they are not the same. You are choosing the gentle motion. Thud. The pattern you are creating isn't complicated. It's just a simple, beautiful, continuous line of peaceful presence. You are weaving time into a solid, restful fabric, replacing the chaotic spaces of worry with the smooth, interlocking certainty of repetition. Each pass of the thread is a victory for stillness. Each soft thud of the loom is a gentle reminder that things take their time, and that is perfectly safe. Feel the rhythmic, grounded weight of the work in your hands. This is not hurried labor. It is deep, meaningful rest translated into motion. You are not solving the world. You are simply smoothing the fabric of this one quiet moment. And as you lay down thread after thread of quiet indigo and soft silence, the older tangled knots seem to fade slightly, becoming less distinct, less sharp, simply because your attention, your warmth, and your energy are committed entirely to the beautiful, slow creation of the new pattern. Can you feel the slow, predictable rhythm of the weaving begin to settle the quick, erratic pulsing in your own chest? Let the sound of the soft thud become the sound of your peaceful, slowing heart. The light on the horizon's edge. Anxiety often feels like being entirely submerged in the moment's darkness, doesn't it? It convinces us that the shadow surrounding us is the only reality. But I learned to seek out something that no amount of present worry can truly extinguish: the light on the horizon's edge. This is not a blinding light or a goal you must rush toward. It is a soft, steady, distant glow, always there, always waiting, utterly unaffected by the smaller shadows closer. To your feet, imagine now that you are standing on a vast, quiet plain, perhaps near the sea, where the view stretches out endlessly. The current moment of worry, whatever it may be, is a small, peripheral shadow nearby, perhaps cast by a momentary cloud or a passing thought. It is real, but it is small, and it is near. Now lift your gaze. Let your focus drift outward, past the immediate foreground, past the middle distance, until you find that one, pure, constant source of illumination, the light on the horizon's edge. This light represents future peace. It represents the inherent possibility of rest. It represents the simple truth that this moment will pass, and the quiet, broad landscape will remain. It is a soft amber, or perhaps a muted silver, a color that feels profoundly steady and non-demanding. When the shadow of worry tries to pull your eyes down, you gently, quietly recenter your awareness on the glow. You use this light as an anchor. It's like looking up at a star on a cloudy night. You know the clouds are real, they are physically present, but the star's presence is also real, and its immense distance means its quiet existence is not threatened by the temporary veil. Try to feel the sensation of reaching out with your quiet attention toward that distant light. As your mind stretches out to touch that steady glow, what happens to the sharp edges of the immediate worry? They soften, they blur, they lose definition. They become small because your focus has enlarged the entire landscape around them. The great secret of this exercise, my listener, is that the light isn't something you have to earn or achieve. It is already there. You are simply choosing to acknowledge the part of your mind that knows quietude is coming, regardless of the noise right now. It's a commitment to broad perspective, allowing the smaller, urgent thoughts to fade into the background, the peripheral vision, while the constant, peaceful light occupies the center of your gentle contemplation. We are just standing here in the quiet, cool air, letting the soft light fill the far corners of our vision. It's an invitation for the soul to remember its own vastness. Doesn't that steady, constant light feel like a quiet promise whispered on the breeze, a gentle assurance that all will settle? Allow your quiet attention to rest fully on that gentle glow, holding your peaceful center steady. The language of the deep well. Often when anxiety settles over us, we feel a great rush to the surface, to action, to talk, to distraction. But I learned that the deepest, most restorative peace is not found in the surface churning, but in the descent. Imagine now, my listener, a quiet, ancient place within your inner landscape. It is a deep well. This is not a dark, fearful void, but a beautiful, cool source of profound stillness. The edges of the well are lined with smooth, weathered stone, and the air here is always refreshingly cool and profoundly quiet. The surface of the water in the well represents the conscious mind, where thoughts and worries ripple constantly. But if you look past the surface, down into the clear, cool darkness, you see the deep well itself. The first, most beautiful sound you hear here is silence. In our waking life, silence often feels empty, but here, in the well, silence is a restorative language. It is a full, rich sound, an absence of friction, an agreement between all things to simply be. When the frantic echoes of anxiety try to intrude, they are absorbed by the deep, cool water, their edges softened, their volume reduced to a mere whisper. Now gently imagine dipping a small, heavy bucket, the bucket of your awareness, down into that deep coolness. Slowly, carefully, without a splash. Listen for the sound of the bucket touching the surface. A soft, almost imperceptible plink. As you let the bucket sink, you are diving into the subconscious not as a frightening void, but as a source of quiet wisdom. In this depth, there are no urgent questions, and therefore no frantic answers. The worries that seemed sharp and pressing on the surface now look like slow-moving, simple reflections cast on the water, distortions, not realities. The cool temperature of the water is immensely soothing. It slows the nervous system down. It invites the heart to mimic the deep, slow pulse of the earth itself. Every time a thought or an emotion arises, you can gently place it in that quiet, cool water, watching it sink slowly, losing its urgency as it descends. In the language of the deep well, every echo is soft, every movement is slow, and the great truth resting at the bottom is this: you are sustained by what is still. We are not here to retrieve anything or solve anything. We are here to bathe our awareness in the deep, constant, supportive stillness. Let the coolness from the well rise up and soothe the warmth of your worry. Doesn't the thought of being completely supported by such a quiet, deep and constant source bring a feeling of absolute trust to your body? Feel the quiet, soft support beneath you and rest in this profound stillness. Slowing the clock's gentle hand. The sharpest edge of anxiety, my dear listener, is often the feeling of urgency. It's the insistent drumming that tells us we are running out of time, that we must rush, and that rest is a luxury we cannot afford right now. But in the landscape of your inner peace, there is a place where that pressure simply dissolves. Imagine stepping now into a beautiful, quiet space. It feels like a softly lit, old conservatory, where the glass panes are slightly frosted, making the light diffuse and mellow. In this room, there is a single, beautiful, ancient clock. But this is no ordinary timepiece that dictates a frantic pace. This clock has been touched by a peaceful magic. Its hands move with a profound, almost imperceptible slowness. Look closely at the second hand, the one that usually rushes and ticks so loudly. Here, it doesn't tick. It glides. It moves so gently that you can watch it for minutes, and it seems not to have moved at all. This clock is teaching you the secret of time expansion. It is showing you that the anxiety-driven urgency is an illusion created by paying attention only to the sharp, quick ticking outside. Here, in the quiet conservatory, time is expansive, slow, and generous. Every second that passes in this room is not a loss. It is an opportunity to deepen your rest. Take a deep breath now and exhale slowly, matching your quiet out-breath to the near motionless sweep of the gentle clock's hand. Feel your own internal rhythm, your heart rate, the rise and fall of your belly start to sync with this beautiful, unhurried pace. When a worrying thought enters, I must solve this tomorrow. I should have done that today. You simply place that thought near the clock, and the slowness of the clock's hand immediately begins to soothe the urgency of the thought. It reminds the thought that the true reality of this quiet space is that there is always enough time for the things that truly matter, like rest and peace. In this timeless space, the concept of rushing simply doesn't exist. You are dissolving the sharp divisions between moments, allowing them to flow together like warm honey. Your anxiety shrinks, because its primary fuel, hurry, is completely unavailable here. You are being given permission to slow down everything. The quick pace of your eyes, the rapid movement of your thoughts, the subtle tension in your jaw. Slow down, my dear one. Slow down until you feel the quiet, profound joy of simply being present in a slow moment. The ancient clock is your gentle guide. It doesn't judge. It only measures the immense, slow beauty of time when it is truly savored. Doesn't the immense, unhurried flow of time feel like a vast, soft blanket being pulled gently over the small, exposed edge of your immediate worry? Let the pace of this peaceful clock become the pace of your own restful heart. The final gate to the sleeping garden. We have come a long, quiet way, my dear listener. We have observed the worry stone, charted the inner weather, shelved the urgent narratives, committed to the weaver's slow rhythm, anchored to the far light, listened to the deep silence, and found peace in the slow hand of time. There is now only one place left to go, the space where rest is not an effort, but a gentle surrender. Imagine you are standing before a final gate. It is not imposing or heavy. It is made of smooth, aged iron, softened by moss and morning dew, and it stands slightly ajar. Beyond this gate lies your personal sleeping garden. This garden is your most sacred inner space, a landscape built entirely of comfort, peace, and the deep, rich scent of night-blooming jasmine. Step through the gate now. Feel the softness of the earth beneath your feet. The air here is perfectly temperatured, cool enough to be restorative, warm enough to be cozy. There are no sudden noises here, only the soft, continuous hush of true quiet. Look around you. This is your design for peace. Perhaps there is a shallow, silent pool that reflects only the moonlight. Maybe there is a weeping willow whose branches fall like a comforting private curtain around you. Notice the subtle, beautiful details, the smooth roundness of the stones, the deep, comforting shade of the velvet darkness, the faint, sweet scent carried on the still air. This garden is not just peaceful, it is protected. Nothing that rushes, nothing that demands, and nothing that causes distress can follow you past that gentle, moss-covered gate. You are completely safe here. Find the most comfortable spot, the perfect place to settle down for the deepest rest. It might be a hammock woven from soft moonlight or a bench carved from cool, smooth stone. As you settle into this perfect spot, you perform the final, quiet act of release. It is not a dramatic letting go, but a gentle setting down. Set down the weight of your head. Set down the thoughts that still linger like faint smoke. Set down the final, residual tension you might be holding in your shoulders or your jaw. Let every muscle in your body become soft, heavy, and melting. You are now fully in your sleeping garden. The only task remaining is to listen to the soft, rhythmic sound of the silence. Every gentle inhalation is the cool, clean air of the garden filling you. Every slow, complete exhalation is the soft sinking into the earth, into the rest. Isn't this deep, quiet garden exactly where your spirit was hoping to land tonight? You are home now. You are safe. Close your inner eyes to the beautiful sight of the garden and let your awareness simply drift on the still, cool air. Sleep is waiting for you like a soft, familiar current. Let the final image of this beautiful, quiet space carry you completely into your dreams.